Last thing real quick as we wrap up. As I tell my dealerships, the biggest challenge most of you have as dealers is you have in your brain, this is how it's supposed to be. And I hope over the 4 hours I've been with you, I've changed your thought processes and you see something differently than you saw before. But I do know your tendency is going to be go back and do what you did before. And you've got a couple more days here. And I know with Blair and Dan and with Bob here, you're going to be exposed to a lot of things. And I just encourage you to don't close your mind to it, just be open to it, right? And there's going to be some things you're going to, just like my stuff, there's some stuff you go, I'm not going to do that. I don't care. You don't have to do all the stuff I tell you to do. If you choose to be a failure, it's totally up to you. I'm not here to tell you that you have to be successful and make lots of money. It's up to you. But I always tell my guys, I said, you can't do it all. Just parts of it. Just start. We just know we want to make more money as we go through it. But you have to change this up here. This is where it's all at. I fortunately, about 20 years ago, read a book that was written by a gentleman by the name of Dr. Norman Vincent Peale called The Power of Positive Thinking. Has anybody ever heard or read of that book? Read the book? Okay. If you haven't read it, go get it and read it. You can buy it at any used bookstore for $2.95 probably. But Dr. Peale was a pastor of a large church in New York, and he wrote this book, and actually kind of funny because at the time he wrote it, he was branded a heretic because of the book. And yet if you read the book, you really understood that what he said was very biblical and the principles in it were very biblical. But basically what the book was all about is that you are who you are, not so much because of what you do, but because of how you think. And if you don't like who you are or you don't like what you're doing, you can't really change it by changing what you're doing physically. You must first change how you think. And this whole thing was, if you change how you think, you automatically will start doing things different. That's the whole purpose of it. So I mean, it's kind of, think about that for a second. He said, you as a dealer right now are where you're at, according to Dr. Peale, because that's where you think you're supposed to be. And he said, if you don't like where you're at, you can't change where you're at by physically doing something about it. You first must change how you think about where you're at. So if you choose to say, you know what, I'm ready to start making money, not just making a living, he would say that's a process change that you have to make. You have to see yourself making money. You have to quit thinking like a poor person. And I don't mean that in a derogatory way, but I tell my kids that all the time. When they do stuff, I said, you're thinking like a poor person. We're in a land of wealth and opportunity, right? It's up to you. You got to think differently. Right? And that's what Dr. Peale would say, you've got to think different. A buddy of mine and I were at his workshop. This is 20 years ago in Kansas City. And he was there, and we were sitting there in the front, and we were listening to him, and he was a really passionate speaker, and he just kept going over this and over this. He said, you are who you are because that's what you think. He said, you literally will become what you think about most often. I mean, he said, you literally will transform, turn into, become the one thing your mind is focused on most of the time. My buddy poked in the ribs. He says, dear God, Bob, I'm going to become a woman. He says, Roger, I think you've missed the point on this one entirely. Is he right? Are you where you're at because that's where you think you're supposed to be? And I would say, yeah, you are. And I tell people again, if you don't like where you are, don't change it until you change it. It's like I tell salespeople, sales don't happen out there, they happen up here. Once the customer buys it here, they take it out there. Selling is a mental process, not a physical process. Again, if you read my articles in Equipment Dealer Magazine, I've spent 9 months going through how do we mentally get people to buy things, not physically. Once you make a decision to buy it up here, it'll automatically happen out there. So it's the same thing. So that's my thing to you. You've got to change how you think. You've got to see what you do in a different way. Everybody stand up for me real quick. I want you to put your right arm up in the air, and I want you to turn around all the way around. So just put your right arm out like this, turn all the way around in a circle, just one time. I just don't want you to hit anything or anybody, so you should be physically in a place now where if you were to turn all the way around in a circle with your arm out like this, you wouldn't hit anything. Is everybody there? Because I'm not insured for body damage. All right, now, here's what I want you to do. Dr. Peale said you are where you are, and you do what you do because that's what you think. And he said, if you change how you think, you automatically will change what you do. And I want to prove the point to you. Everybody do me a favor, put your right arm up in the air. Now you're not going to turn and walk anymore. You're going to hold your feet in one position and you're just going to twist your body. Ready? So everybody turn now to the right as far as you can go. To the right. Go as far as you can go. And I want you just to notice where your arm's at. So everybody got that in your mind? Everybody got it? Bring your arm back around now and put it down. All right. Dr. Peel said you are there because that's as far as you believe you can go. And he said if you change how you think, you can actually do more. And I want to prove the point. Now, how many people went as far as you could, noticed some pain? And how many people went, oh, that hurt? I tell people, well, then you got to work through the pain. Here's what I want you to do. Close your eyes for me. And just in your mind now, just in your mind, you're not actually going to do this. You're not going to physically do it. So your arms are going to be down, but I just want you to see in your mind a picture of your right arm up, and you're turning to the right, just in your mind. You're turning to the right. Keep it going, stretch it out. Oh, past that first point now. Notice you're feeling good. Bring it around and put it down. Just in your mind again, your right arm is up. You're moving around. You're past your first, you're past your second. Stretch it, stretch it, stretch it. Whoa, baby, look at that. Bring it around and put it down. Last time, then we're actually going to try it again. In your mind, your arm is up. You're past your first, second, third. Stretch it, bring it around, put it down. Everybody do me a favor, open up your eyes. Put your right arm up in the air. I want you to turn as far as you can possibly go and see if you can go farther than you did the first time you did it. Somebody's back. Somebody else did it. How many people would do that? How did you do that? Had a guy the other day say, you hypnotize yourself. No. I just made you see yourself doing what? Just something different. And that's my challenge to you. So hopefully today I've got your mind open a little bit. You're going to have some fun time tomorrow as you go through other things. But I just challenge you, keep your mind open. If you do, success will be yours. Thank you guys so much. God bless you all.